Hello and welcome to another episode of Anime Launch Short Flights. Today we're going to be talking about Metallic Rouge episode 12. This is not the finale. We still got one more episode, as obvious as long as you've seen the episode. I was kind of expecting this to be the season finale. Didn't quite realize that there was going to be 13 episodes, but there is, and good thing there is because otherwise we'd be pretty damn confused. Anyway, great episode. Ton of information. If you got lost, don't feel alone because I'm sure everyone else did. So I'll try to explain things as we go along and maybe you can understand a little bit more. I'm not going to claim that I know everything, but I did a little bit of looking into stuff. So let's try to get there together. Anyway, episode starts out. By the way, I'm going to name all these guys by their colors instead of their names just so everyone can follow along a little bit quicker. So this episode starts out with Black versus Gray. Black, he's kind of the good guy on our side right now, and he's fighting for Rouge. And Gray just wants to put a pin in everything. He wants to mess up everything. He's fighting for Sylvia, who's the bad guy right now, and he's the one with gravity. And what threw me off for a second is when Black and Gray were fighting, Gray had these four arms come out of him, and he was still able to manipulate gravity and do some weird stuff. Those four arms that came out really kind of threw me through a loop because they didn't really have too much of a real purpose other than just looking cool. So that's as much as I can give it. It looked cool. I liked it a lot. It's just they kind of just gave it to us just because they wanted to. Very interesting. Whatever. He's supposed to be dead, so highly doubt we're going to get anything out of him. So because Gray dies, obviously. Another interesting thing about Gray dying is he tells our good guys, go stop Sylvia. Okay, well, you just had a big fight with us to stop us from getting to Sylvia. Why would you then tell us to go stop her? It's kind of one of those weird things well, I lost. I did it for her because I love her. But now that I can't continue, it's probably for the best that she doesn't continue. It's kind of weird crap like that. So I didn't know how to feel about that too much. Whatever. Gray's out of the picture. Let's move on. So now we got Yellow. Yellow's leading Rouge to where she needs to go next, and that's to Sylvia. As soon as Sylvia enters the picture, she's screwing everything up right from the get-go. She goes and tries to kill Yellow, stabs him, pushes him off the cliff, and he falls. We expect him to die. Not really, because he's kind of done this before. He's fallen from space, crashed onto Earth, and still hasn't died that way. Dude's not dying. Anyway, now it's time for Silva and Rouge to fight. They both transform and go into their gladiator forms, and now they're fighting. And Rouge actually ends up losing. Cut to the chase. She gets stabbed, and her id gets taken out right away. Kind of surprised to see that, especially again because I thought this was going to be the last episode. I'm like, holy crap, she's losing so badly. She gets her id taken, and Silva goes away, and then Naomi comes and tries to help her out. Naomi tries to help her out, so she runs away and tries to go into some security room and tries beeping in all these beeps. And she does something. I assume it's some kind of self-destruct sequence because something that went over 100%, I don't know what that has to do with anything. But we're going to see soon because a lot of stuff is going to happen in this final episode. She ends up meeting up with Rouge again. Rouge is not doing so hot, but she still wants to fight. And strangely enough, Naomi gives Rouge her own id. I'm very curious to see what's going to come out of this because I'm kind of hoping that this kind of gives Rouge a new transformation sequence, not a sequence per se, but, a new form, a new gladiator form. Because Naomi is first. She's the first of these Neons. So I'm kind of hoping that she gets something really, really powerful out of this. Kind of have to because we got some boss to beat. And speaking of the boss, the puppeteer, we find out that the puppeteer is Jung Hart. If you're confused about who that is, it's because he was mentioned earlier in the season, really, really early. Too many names to be dropping to be remembering this guy, especially if you really didn't see him. He died. He was supposed to have died by the Red Gladiator, and he was just going to be forgotten. So I went back and I tried listening to the first two episodes again. Didn't really hear him. I heard his name drop once, maybe a second time, but really, you didn't see much of him at all. So it's really strange to see him here at the end of the series when we really haven't built him up at all. So now we got this puppeteer guy who we've come to learn mid-season is now this guy who we really don't even know. Really. So I don't know. I'm going to be very curious on how they try to make him important because it's kind of whatever at this point. And the last thing that threw me off is Eden Black. He's supposed to be Jean's dad. I don't see why that's a thing to begin with. These are Aeons. They're machines. They're androids. They can't be given birth. So the best thing that they can come up with is some BS way to say that he adopted him, or to say that Eden is the one who created Jean. I don't know. I need another explanation for that because that's just some info drop that doesn't make sense. Anyway, a lot of information. Glad you stuck around with me, trying to make some sense out of some stuff. I'll see you guys next week for the season finale. Can't wait to see how this ends. Hoping for a really badass fight, and hope you guys are too. Later.